you will eventually find someone who is enough of a fool or enough of a coward to file your motion. But it was never going to be me.
Wow.
It has been an onslaught of resignations today after Trump's DOJ dropped corruption charges on New York City Mayor Eric Adams. And the reason why they dropped the charges might be its own corruption case in of itself. I've got the blistering resignation letters, as well as a response to the resignations that shows just how corrupt this administration is. Before we dive into it, if you're liking the video, make sure to like the video and double check that you're subscribed. I want to remind you guys a little bit of the context surrounding this case. In September of last year, the FBI brought charges against Mayor Eric Adams, and here's the meat of the lawsuit. Mayor Adams abused his position as this city's highest elected official by allegedly taking improper and illegal benefits from foreign nationals, including to allow a Manhattan skyscraper to open without a fire inspection. Adams put the interests of his benefactors, including a foreign official, above those of his constituents. So really, this should be a non-controversial case. If a city official is putting the safety of their citizens at risk by, in this case, not doing a fire inspection because they got a kickback from the guy who owns the building, well, that to me is a very clear case of corruption. But for some reason, Donald Trump's DOJ doesn't have a problem with that. Instead, Trump's DOJ issued a memo calling for the charges against Adams to be dropped. And here are the reasons they lay out. They don't question the facts and the merits of the case. Instead, it lays out two political reasons for the corruption case to be dropped. First, it echoes an unsubstantiated claim that former President Joe Biden and his administration may have used the prosecution to punish Adams, a fellow Democrat, for publicly criticizing Biden's immigration policies. It can't be ignored that Mayor Adams criticized the prior administration's immigration policies before the charges were filed, and the former U.S. attorney's public actions created appearances of impropriety. In the memo, DOJ officials said the case, if allowed to move forward, would hinder Adams from devoting his full attention to one of Trump's top policy initiatives, curbing illegal immigration and violent crime in New York City. This move brought heavy criticism from people who see this as a quid pro quo. Mayor Adams was let off the hook in exchange for helping the Trump administration round up undocumented migrants. Here's a New York State senator sharing that sentiment. Eric Adams sold out New Yorkers to buy his own freedom, but he'll never escape the label of the worst mayor in New York City history. And there might be some truth to these accusations. Eric Adams didn't waste any time getting on Fox and Friends with his new buddy, Tom Homan, the head of ICE.
If he doesn't come through, I'll be back in New York City, and we won't be sitting on the couch. I'll be in his office, up his butt, saying, where the hell is the agreement we came to? So
I want ICE to deliver. And I want ICE to deliver. We're going to deliver for the safety of the people of this city.
And if he doesn't come through,
Interesting. What agreement did they come to? Funny that they're coming to agreements about immigration when the memo calling for the dismissal of the charges against Adams specifically mentioned his immigration policy. I mean, it can't get any more blatant than that. And it's not just us who see it, the prosecutors see it too. That's why 3 top prosecutors have resigned over this whole Eric Adams case. Let me show you the resignation letters. Here's the first resignation letter sent to our new Attorney General, Pam Bondi. I received a memorandum from Acting Deputy Attorney General Emil Bovee, directing me to dismiss the indictment against Mayor Eric Adams without prejudice. I do not repeat here the evidence against Adams that proves beyond a reasonable doubt that he committed federal crimes. Mr. Bovee rightly has never called into question that the case team conducted this investigation with integrity and that the charges against Adams are serious and supported by fact and law. His memo, however, which directs me to dismiss an indictment returned by a duly constituted grand jury for reasons having nothing to do with the strength of the case, raises serious concerns, and Mr. Bovee appears prepared to concede that Adams should receive leniency for federal crimes solely because he occupies an important public position and can use that position to assist the administration's policy priorities. So she's basically calling them out straight to their face. They literally said in the memo that the reason why they're dismissing this is because Eric Adams was unjustly prosecuted for his support of Donald Trump, and that he'll be useful in instituting Trump's deranged immigration policy. Those are not reasons that have anything to do with his actual corruption case. I'll remind you that this is about a fire inspection, and it wasn't just prosecutor Danielle Sassoon who resigned. Here's another excerpt from a different prosecutor's resignation letter.
Our colleague Jonathan Deans has obtained that resignation letter from Hagen Scott, an assistant United States attorney who was on the Adams case. I'm going to read from certain sections of it. The New York Times and other publications have put this out as well. It says that, in short, the first justification for the motion, this is the motion to dismiss the case, that Damian Williams' role in the case somehow tainted a valid indictment supported by ample evidence and pursued under 4 different U.S. attorneys, is so weak as to be transparently pretextual. The second justification is worse. No system of ordered liberty can allow the government to use the carrot of dismissing charges or the stick of threatening to bring them again to induce an elected official to support its policy objectives. I'm going to skip down into the letter a little bit. Any assistant U.S. attorney would know that our laws and traditions do not allow using the prosecutorial power to influence other citizens, much less elected officials, in this way. If no lawyer within earshot of the president is willing to give him that advice, then I expect you will eventually find someone who is enough of a fool or enough of a coward to file your motion. But it was never going to be me. Wow. Please consider this my resignation. It has been an honor to serve as a prosecutor in the Southern District of New York. That's one of the line prosecutors who is involved in this case. What he is effectively saying is, Emil Bovee, you should talk to the president. He may think that this is some sort of a business negotiation, some sort of leverage, some sort of something that you're going to have here. But he is effectively speaking to the point that we opened the show with, the point that I was making, which is that there's serious concern that this is effectively coercion, saying to the mayor of the city of New York, we need your help on immigration, and in turn, we can help with these charges. They're saying that there are serious legal concerns about this and the way that things are supposed to go with inside the Justice Department.
And Tom, the president was asked yesterday if he had anything to do with this, and I think he said no, that he didn't have any involvement in this case.
That's what the president said.
And I want to leave you with a letter that was sent from the Attorney General's office accepting this resignation, specifically from Danielle Sassoon, because the language of this letter clearly indicates that the Department of Justice is more dedicated to fulfilling the whims and wishes of Donald Trump than it is to upholding the letter of the law. Ms. Sassoon, in response to your refusal to comply with my instruction to dismiss the prosecution of Mayor Eric Adams, I write to notify you of the following. First, your resignation is accepted. This decision is based on your choice to continue pursuing a politically motivated prosecution, despite an express instruction to dismiss the case. You lost sight of the oath you took when you started at the Department of Justice by suggesting that you retain discretion to interpret the Constitution in a manner inconsistent with the policies of a democratically elected president and a Senate-confirmed Attorney General. They are literally attacking this prosecutor for daring to interpret the Constitution in a way differently than Donald Trump. Donald Trump, who may or may not even be able to read. He goes on to bitch and moan about how Trump gave him the power to do this and how they're being so unfair to Eric Adams. Really, it has very "you can't quit, I'm firing you" energy. But in reality, everybody can see this for what it is. So, folks, it seems like open corruption is the new name of the game. When Trump said he was going to drain the swamp, what he really meant was that he's going to fill it so full of water that you can see the swamp monsters canoodling as clear as day. We'll keep you updated on any advancements to this story. I'm Tony Hinderman with Really American, and I'll catch you next time.